Hey guys, welcome back to another Gaming Memories video. Here we are taking a look at Destruction Derby Raw. This was the final Destruction Derby game to be released on the PlayStation console during the lifespan of the console in general. Now this game is a very different affair compared to the previous two games. So it is, this one here kind of more reflects more likes of what stock car racing kind of is and what it was going forward on other consoles, like later consoles likes of the PS2, PS3, even the PS4. It kind of all those games started to take on this kind of style for the likes of these type of games. Very different in terms of how it actually looks and visually the aesthetics and stuff compared to the original two games. Now the graphics on the game are actually really good, but again it depends on your preference. So it is. Now this game, although it is the final game in the series, it was released in 1999, and then it actually ended up on the budget platinum line of games in 2002 because it actually sold quite a number of copies, again because of the success of the original two games on the system, because the original Destruction Derby was one of the first games to be launched within the first couple of weeks of the original PlayStation's launch back in 1995 to critical success. And then its sequel then in 1996, Destruction Derby 2, which in my opinion is the best car combat style game on the PlayStation, and it's probably my favourite style of destruction game pretty much ever, because that game is just absolutely mental and it's frantic as hell. Great graphics, great soundtrack, it pretty much has everything, and the gameplay is just so fast and so frantic, and it's tough as hell. I actually will leave links down in the description to previous videos I've actually also done on the channel as well, where I've done reviews and even gameplay of the actual games themselves, just so that you can see the differences between the whole lot of them, because they're very different style of games. Each one of them are actually very different in terms of their visual aesthetics. Again, the original game, because it was a very early title, graphically it would have been definitely a lot more simplistic compared to the second game, and more so with this game. But at the same time, it's still a fantastic title, even though it is very different. And the second game was definitely a step up. This here again is even a step up on it as well, and this here definitely uses more high-end 3D graphics, so it does. But the visual and mechanical control style aesthetics of the game are very different compared to the previous two. It's definitely a lot slower paced. It plays fine. The controls are definitely a bit more sluggish compared to especially with the likes of the second game. But the overall gameplay and the speed doesn't feel as fast as the second game. The second game is just literally just balls to the wall, just absolute mayhem and chaos. That game is just incredible. It's one of my favourite racing games ever, and definitely one of my favourite games of all time on the PlayStation. So when I got the chance to play this one here, I was excited to play it, but I was kind of just left just bemused by it when I originally did play it, because I was expecting it to be more like the second game, because that game, it's flawed but it's brilliant. And when I went to play this, it was like, this doesn't feel like a Destruction Derby game. I suppose from my own experiences, because I love the original two games so much and I still play them regularly, to go and play this here, and it was completely different, even though it is a sequel, but it felt more like kind of like a completely different, like as if it was based off a different franchise, or like even like a spin-off. But again, it's an evolution of the franchise. But there wasn't too many more games made in the Destruction Derby series. I think there was one more. I think Destruction Derby Arenas, I think released on the PS2. Now I never actually played that game, so I didn't, so I don't know how good that game actually is. But actually, I haven't played this now. I originally played it was actually on a demo on the UK PlayStation magazine, and again, like, I was excited to play it. I'll be honest, it took me a while to kind of get into it, because I think I was comparing it to the second game, which I love so much, and in some ways I kind of felt left a little bit deflated. But then I was like to myself, you know what, I'll actually give it a go, and it is actually a really good game. I know that it did get mixed reviews in a lot of the games magazines. It didn't get as well received compared to like the previous games, as I mentioned. And I think a lot of it had to do is because it definitely strayed away from the original formula of the game. It's not to say that it's a bad game, it's actually not. but it didn't have the same kind of vibe to it that the original two games actually had. And I think that's what was very different, and I think a lot of people probably just kind of didn't relate to it that much, and I know myself I didn't when I first played it. But as time went on, and I never bought the original game, that's the funny thing, but I found myself when I did get into it, I actually started to really enjoy it. And I really enjoyed playing the demo. I played it for ages, actually trying to win races and trying to see who get the best scores and stuff. But I will admit, if I compare it to the original title, even though I think it's a really good game and it's a really good sequel, even though it doesn't really kind of feel like a Destruction Derby game to me anyway, but it's definitely it's still a good game. It's for me, the second game is my personal favourite, and also even the first one. I actually love the first one as well, but the second game is just brilliant. But this is still a very good game, and I do highly recommend that if you are into these type of games, that you even just play all three of them. Again, make sure to check out the other videos I've done where I have gone through the other two games as well, and you can visually see the differences in them, because they're very, very different style of games, every single one of them. But they are still very good games, and definitely don't take away the fact that this game actually did sell quite in good numbers, and it did hit that platinum collection as well, which that's for games they sold really well. So it definitely done okay in its own right. I think because of the fact that it was a Destruction Derby game, and because it was an extremely popular franchise in the PlayStation, it was always going to sell anyway. So I would recommend that you check it out. So I'd love to know your thoughts on this game and what you think of it, and did you enjoy it back in the day, and which one of the Destruction Derby games were your favourite? Make sure to share it in the comments below. So if you have enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. Also be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be updated whenever I release future content, and also make sure to share the video, as I will be re-exploring a lot of these old classic racer games and sharing my thoughts and experiences with everyone. So as always, make sure to keep playing those classic games and enjoying them, and keep those gaming memories alive.